what's up guys? I'm Lauren of Lauren Lesley Studio, and in this video I'm going to teach you 5 more ways on how to fill your sketchbook and improve your art. And be sure to stick around to the end because I have a little surprise for you. And if you missed the first 5 tips on how to fill your sketchbook and improve your art, make sure to watch this video here first. Alright, let's dive into the tips. Now the first tip is to copy the masters. So when you are looking at other arts from the masters, and I know the masters can be like kind of an arbitrary term, but there are certain artists that really change the landscape of the art world, and it's important to pay attention to them. So it could be your contemporaries, it could be a different artist from art history, but I do challenge you to go to a museum and look at the masters, look at what they did and see, just fill your sketchbook. So I do encourage you to go to museums and see what you can learn from the masters. Like, they are considered the masters for a reason, even though, you know, it's not that they are gods and goddesses, you know, they are people, but they did some really cool things. And so while it's never okay to like copy someone else's work and claim it as your own, like that's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that your sketchbook is a place to learn, and you can learn so much by, you know, actually sitting down and slowing down and, you know, copying the masters from what you're seeing in front of you. So, you know, it's one thing just to look at, you know, famous artworks, but if you are sitting down and actually doing a sketch of the famous artwork, you're gonna learn and just absorb so much more, and it's a great way to fill your sketchbook. I always say that no artist is an island, so the more you can learn from the masters, the better. Every artist is going to have a different takeaway, so it's okay to, you know, have a little sketch that, as long as you write down like who did it, what it's from, and all of that, you're giving credit to the original artist, even if it's just in your sketchbook. Step number 7 is to draw thumbnails for larger artworks. So when you draw little thumbnails in your sketchbook, it's a great way, to fill your sketchbook, but it also helps you to think about the composition in a different way, and it really just helps you to slow down, and this is something I'm bad at. I like to just jump into things and get things done, especially while I'm still feeling motivated and inspired, but when you slow down and actually do the work to think about different compositions that your artwork could have, and you're making little thumbnails in your sketchbook, then you're really gonna create the most dynamic composition possible, because you're exploring all the different possibilities. Tip number 8 is to try a new medium. I always say that one medium informs another, and so your sketchbook is the place to experiment, right? It's like your little book of ideas. And so when one medium informs another, it's kind of like, okay, if you're a watercolor artist, maybe in your sketchbook you should try painting with gouache or maybe acrylic paints instead, or maybe use some watercolor pencils and see what that feels like. And so as you're doing other mediums in your sketchbook, you're actually becoming a better watercolor artist. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so when I was in college, I wanted to get a BFA, and so that meant I had to take printmaking and sculpture and ceramics and like all these things, even though I was an oil painting concentration. And so for a while there, I was like, why do I have to take sculpture? Like, if I'm an oil painter, why do I have to take sculpture? That makes no sense. But as I was doing my sculpture class, I actually realized that it helped me become a better oil painter. And so when you really push yourself and challenge yourself to do another medium, then it just really helps you become even better at the discipline that you are trying to get better in. Tip number 9 is to write in your sketchbook. Your sketchbook is essentially an idea book, so be sure to write down any new ideas you have for projects. Be sure to take notes on other artists' work that you really admire. You know, what do you admire about it? Try describing it as if you were writing some kind of like art history essay. You know, describe the artwork that you really admire, because that way it's gonna help you really come into full consciousness about the characteristics that you want to maybe embody in your own work. Also, be sure to write down goals that you have for your art. So when you write down like a to-do list or a list of goals, you're more likely to actually get them done, and your sketchbook is kind of just the place where all this stuff is coming alive. And so it's really just your kind of your house for all of your creative ideas. So be sure to also write your goals in your sketchbook. Writing also just helps you become more thoughtful about your work in general. So you know, you don't have to like fill, if it's like watercolor paper, you don't have to fill tons and tons of pages like it's a journal. But if you are, you know, if you've already sketched something, maybe you write something in the corners, or you write kind of around your sketches. Or maybe if you have some, you know, looser papers, if you've made your own handmade sketchbook, you could include some papers that are specifically for writing purposes. And tip number 10 is to create a daily practice. So guys, the hard truth is that you'll never fill your sketchbook if you don't have a blocked out regular time to sit down and draw. Like, that's just the way it is. It's gonna require some kind of a daily or weekly practice at least to sit down and just draw anything, just draw something in your sketchbook. And ideally we want that sketch to be something with intention, like a project or a goal that you're working towards, something that you're trying to improve your art. But of course, you're never gonna improve your art if you're not drawing regularly. That's like the most basic thing, but it's something that's, you know, sometimes we're tired and we just wanna watch TV or play video games or do something like that. So just ask yourself, when you've blocked down that time, you know, if you can just sit down and draw one line, just one line. Because if you can just get to that part, chances are that you're actually gonna end up drawing a full page or a few thumbnails or something like that. If you can just get yourself to sit down and draw, like, that is literally the hardest part. Like, a lot like going to the gym, for me at least, is just getting there. So once I'm there, I'm good. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm already here, I'm doing this, but it's like the mental battle of like, oh, do I wanna go? Like, I'm tired, like, ugh. And often with drawing, it's the same way. Like, if you're not feeling motivated, then just ask yourself if you can sit down and draw one line in your sketchbook, or like a few doodles, and then if that's all you can do for that day, fine, that's fine. You did it, right? Like, come back the next day. But just have that daily or weekly routine of drawing, and that will definitely like fill your sketchbook and improve your art. Like, you're not gonna be able to do either of those things without a routine practice of drawing. Guys, there were even times in my career where I felt like I wasn't getting to be like super creative in my job, and so I would draw or like paint with watercolors in my sketchbook on my lunch break. Like, that was my time to draw. And there were other times where I was like, okay, like, just like brushing my teeth, I've got to like do a little sketch today. So I would get in bed and then like do a little watercolor sketch with like a tray sitting on my bed, and I would do that in bed. Definitely when I lived alone. I don't think my husband would appreciate that now, like me drawing or do painting in bed. But you know, whatever works for you, just like make sure that you can get it done. All right guys, let's dive into your little surprise for this video. So I'm offering a free mini course called Art Style Secrets that you can sign up for on my website. I'll link it in the description below. So if you would like to sign up for that, you can go ahead. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Remember, if you missed the first 5 tips, you can get them over here at this video, and make sure to click the little bell and subscribe to my channel. I'm over on Instagram at Lesley Studio, so I hope to hang out with you there, and over in the Design Tribe Facebook group. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.